Sometime in the dead of night, U.S. commandos blew open Nicolás Maduro's bedroom door and pulled him from power. In an instant, the leader of Venezuela was gone. If you were following the politics of the region, you probably expected a U.S.-backed opposition group to immediately fly into Caracas and take the reins. But that democratic transition never actually happened. Instead, the United States decided to keep the steering wheel firmly in Washington, building an administrative proxy state that operates entirely by remote control. The man pulling the levers is Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Without ever relocating to Caracas, he manages the day-to-day governance of a sovereign nation straight from his desk. To execute his orders on the ground, Rubio relies on Delcy Rodriguez. She is Nicolás Maduro's former vice president, and she now leads the country on an acting basis, with Washington's explicit permission. For an administration that frequently cites freedom and self-determination as core values, treating a nation of nearly 30 million people like a regional corporate subsidiary requires a very specific mechanism of control. Governing a modern state across an ocean is a massive logistical challenge. Venezuela has sprawling cities, a dense bureaucracy, and complex international borders. The dynamic of rule was set in the early hours of January 3rd. Rubio reached Rodriguez by phone and gave her a stark choice: run the country under American instructions, or watch U.S. forces systematically dismantle Venezuela's military bases and infrastructure. She chose to cooperate. Since that phone call, Rubio holds absolute veto power over the country's internal appointments. When Rodriguez needs a new Minister of Defense, she has to run the selection past the Secretary of State first. The control extends to real-time diplomacy. When Venezuela's foreign minister posted a mild statement supporting Iran, a longtime ally, Washington told Rodriguez to take it down. The post disappeared hours later. The optics of this arrangement are incredibly tight. When an American television network asked Rodriguez for an interview, she had to politely inform the anchor that the U.S. president would have to approve the request before she could speak. They might exchange birthday greetings and selfies on WhatsApp, but this is a strict chain of command. The proxy government in Caracas has been completely stripped of its independent agency. To enforce that chain of command, Washington relies on the most effective tool it has, the United States Treasury. The U.S. government now acts as the literal bank account for the Venezuelan state. This animated diagram shows exactly how the financial loop works. Money from Venezuela's oil exports completely bypasses local banks and routes directly into a U.S. Treasury vault. This actually serves a practical purpose. It shields the cash from international creditors looking to collect on billions in unpaid debt. From there, the chart illustrates how the money leaves the U.S. vault. Rubio's team controls the faucet, dispersing these trapped funds back to Caracas as a strict allowance. Washington sets the exact conditions on who gets paid and what the money can buy. Controlling the national wallet gives the U.S. immense leverage to reshape the economy. Venezuela's state oil company quietly took over projects it co-owned with Russia, clearing the board so American energy firms could secure highly lucrative contracts. The leverage extends well into security operations. Rodriguez's government recently stripped a billionaire cartel boss of his passport and shipped him to U.S. prosecutors. They even fed American forces the local intelligence needed to execute a drone strike on a powerful gang leader in the southern jungle. Historically, securing another country's resources and police forces required tens of thousands of occupying troops. Today, Washington achieves the exact same result simply by holding the nation's checking account hostage. The durability of this proxy system faced an extreme test last month when twin earthquakes struck Venezuela, flattening entire neighborhoods and leaving scores of people missing. Within 48 hours, American rescue teams were on the ground. The United States quickly deployed nearly $400 million in aid, physical crates of cash, and 900 military personnel to ensure the proxy administration wouldn't collapse under the pressure. Rubio's stated plan for the country always included a final phase, a transition to genuine democracy. But the massive recovery effort has provided a convenient geopolitical rationale to indefinitely stall any free elections. The administration has actively distanced itself from María Corina Machado. She is the country's most popular exiled opposition leader, But her fierce independence poses a direct threat to the highly controlled, compliant system Washington has built with Rodriguez. So while millions of Venezuelans actively agitate for political change and foreign investors nervously hold back their capital, the president casually muses in the Oval Office about absorbing the country as the 51st state. The administration has prototyped a model of 21st century empire that subordinates a democratic right of self-governance to the logistical needs of resource extraction and political compliance.